Hey everyone, welcome back to Rise Up with Janeena Chan. We are back for episode number 4, and I'm so excited to be joined by a very familiar face, not only here locally, but globally. She is not only a content creator, she has many amazing talents. I'm always in awe of her work. And here she is with us. We have the very, Madame, damn, Madame in the flesh. Well, not really, virtually, at least for now, in this frequency joining us today. She's also an entrepreneur. Let's all welcome Camille Co. Hi, Camille.
Hi everyone. Hello to all the
I'm,
listeners and the viewers.
I'm so Yes, I'm so happy that you're here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time off your very busy schedule.
Siyempre, ikaw pa.
Grabe. Thank you. Syempre may pa-small talk kami, di ba, guys? No, thank you for having me. No. But, today's gonna be really fun lang. This is really a chikahan portion for us. But more than that, aside from seeing how you're doing with the entire global crisis that we're all in the same boat, we're also here to learn from you more than anything. The topic is content creation, and we're here to really figure out more of the fundamentals of it and really what it takes to be a good content creator, to be authentic, as they say. That is a very um I would say overused buzzword, but I think it still rings true to what it's supposed to remind us of, be true to ourselves. But sometimes it is easier said than done. And whenever I see your output online, you have so many platforms too, not only on IG, on Instagram, but on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok even. I love how you're able to adapt to all these amazing trends and new platforms. So first up, sige, let's break it down. Tell us more about content creation for you and how you started out in the industry too. Maybe we can do a little flashback, throwback scenario. Take us through the early years of Camille
Nung
Co
unang
as a content creator.
panahon, nung unang panahon,
Unang panahon. Oo.
I started not more than, almost 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I started my blog officially 2011, but I was already on Chictopia and Lookbook probably around
Mhm.
2010. And
Mhm.
so initially, I wasn't really there to be a blogger per se. Like when I started Chictopia and Lookbook, I really wanted to just have an avenue for me to advertise my own designs. 'Cause at that time, I still had Coexist, and then eventually, I just figured out that, oh wait, I love posting my own styles as well. Of course, I can't just keep posting my own designs, so I also threw in my own OOTDs, even the ones that don't feature my own design. And then eventually I went into blogging, and everything just went organically from there. Like I just started to join like Instagram, but all of these platforms I joined not thinking this was going to be my career. Like with blogging, with Chictopia and Lookbook and blogging, I started it not because I knew it was going to be a career or there was going to be like a blogging industry, but more for just helping out my main passion at that time, which was Coexist. And when I started Instagram, I just thought it was something fun. Like my first post was my dog and me with the like corny collages pa that we used to do, and like mga like Valencia filter, yung mga ganyan pa. So
Oh
it
my goodness.
wasn't anything that was serious for me. And I don't know, I feel like I just rode the wave, I just
Mhm.
all of a sudden I'm just here. I'm part of this new world. And it's
New
now my
world.
main world.
Same, yeah, a whole new world, diba? I love how you mentioned that it did happen organically. I think now kasi, I mean, it is already a part of our world. Not even if you're not a content creator, social media is just
Yeah.
there now, especially for the new generation, right?
Actually count it as a career. Like, what do you want to become? I want to be a blogger. I want to be a blogger. I want to be an Instagram influencer. So
Mhm.
it's so different now. People know what they're getting into. We did,
Exactly.
right? We
Yes.
didn't know what it was.
Okay, so it started with, you mentioned Coexist. Now, for those who aren't familiar, it's actually your design brand, right? You
Yes.
made creations, like that was your content creation in the
So
design world.
yeah, we started as an online store first for like mga. So we wanted to be like an online RTW store featuring like original designs. And then it just, when blogging became too busy for me, I really couldn't keep up with the designs, or even we started purchasing also from like outsourcing and purchasing. But it was just really too hard for me to balance with the blogging, especially when I started traveling, started to do more events, started to do more projects. So then we shifted to made to order, and I went into designing like couture, so more gowns, more like wedding gowns,
Mm-hmm.
entourages and stuff.
Yeah.
We were probably, that was around like 2009 until 2018, I think. Not eight,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 9 years.
Yeah, I think I even remember that post about you saying, "Oh, it's been a great ride, but we're saying goodbye to coexist." But it's you're happy that it happened, and it also is a big part of your journey that led you to where you are right now. And I think it's amazing how much you've evolved too, considering all the factors that before it wasn't an industry. And we are going to dabble more into that as well. So tell us more about it in terms of the professional world. I mean, grabe, business na talaga siya ngayon. And I think it does look very attractive for a lot of people outside looking in, but maybe you can tell us, maybe as the achi of of this community, achi Camille, no, madam
Actually, I like that.
diba? Achi of Manila, na parang what are the, I mean, what should we be cautious of or be aware in terms of getting into this whole industry?
I think a lot of people kasi go into this industry, especially the newer ones, and I'm not saying that everyone, but especially the newer ones, they get lured into it because they think that it's such a glamorous industry. They don't know that it's actually like there's a lot of work that gets into that's not saturated yet. I feel like now it's definitely much harder for you to penetrate the industry or the market because now it's so saturated. How do you stand out? But also I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there is a danger of like losing yourself in it all. Like I think because certain people have stereotypes or misconceptions or expectations about being part of this influencer industry, they tend to forget the personal side to it. I mean, the reason why the blogging industry became such a hit, or influencer marketing became such a hit, is because we were relatable. People were looking for marketing avenues or advertising avenues from real people, not celebrities. So I think people forget that they, at the end of the day, they always have to be authentic and true to themselves. Don't get lost in the like, oh, you get so excited because a brand comes to you and it's your first job, but it's not really true to yourself, to your branding, or to, it's not something that you'd actually use, or it doesn't make sense for you to actually like market something like that. So so then you always have to stay true to your voice, so that you're also able to capture a certain audience that resonates with your voice or relates to your voice. And yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that people really have to look out for, that you really have to like not get lost in it all, because I feel like this is, a lot of people think that this is a numbers game, so they tend to do certain things just to like get the numbers up, or they forget that all of us, when we started, it's because this was really our passion, and people could see through the passion, like they follow us for a certain reason, and it's because of our passion, because of our voice, because of how we are, because of our personality. And I feel like that's really what, those factors are really the keys to success in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so I guess you really have to, before you get into it. I mean, you mentioned a lot of keywords like being relatable and also being true to yourself. So I guess, before getting into it, you have to make sure that you really are secure with who you are as a person,
yes, my god.
and right, the messaging that you want to put out there. I think, I could really relate with what you said, Tuna. Sometimes it gets overwhelming. I think, a lot of people see it as a really glamorous um job, or it's not even a job for others. Well, actually, I can't complain, we are pretty lucky to be calling this our work. I
Are
mean,
are definitely.
I I love it. I mean, I started out as a host, and ako rin, I could relate to kind of like your coexist journey. That well, I still am a host. Okay, for the record, guys. No, I can relate to that coexist journey. Na parang it did start organically. Ako rin actually, parang I was like, wala pang ang vlogging noon. Tapos parang nakikita ko na yung mga posts na Vern Vernice. And kayo rin, yung sinabi niyo ang your batch. Ay, gusto mo yun? May batch ka talaga. Star Magic. No, so yun na nga, na parang I was so busy in my world, like, okay, I really want to be a host. Like, I love the whole media scene. And then here comes new media, a whole nother world, if you may. But then I think nga, now new media is like so, ang ingay na nga ng new media that it cannot be ignored. And, there are, sometimes it can get a little toxic, but again, it's up to you to be able to balance that and still, again, go back to basics and know why you started in the first place. I really used it as a portfolio before, honestly. Well, up until now, diba, with the hashtag Janeena hosts, diba? Marketing strategy din naman talaga yan. But at the same time, not just to market, but also to be able to connect to people. And I think that's where sometimes we get lost. And again, it's not, I love what you said about the whole numbers thing. Sometimes we get caught up with the likes and the hearts and the views, but what is it for? Did you just post it for likes, or did you really want to convey a message? Did you really want to connect with people? So in terms of the toxicity of it all, we know that it can become pretty overwhelming. May mga cellphone cases nga na nakasulat, diba? Social media seriously harms your mental health and all. So tell us more about that side of things, the ugly side of things, and how we can balance it and see the goodness in everything.
I honestly think that I can never, like, the kids that are doing this now, I can't do what they're doing now because I feel like I wasn't ready at that age to enter this kind of world. Like, I'm so lucky that I entered blogging and this world at a certain age, because I can't imagine doing this, like, let's say while I'm studying. Like, let's face it, when we're at a certain age of our lives, we're much more insecure, and which then which would then affect us more, like seeing all these things on social media. It would like bring up some insecurities. It would really, like, especially if you, let's say, you have bashers or haters, it would really affect you, because it affected me when I started and I was already like older in my 20s. So it's definitely very toxic. I feel like you really have to be very self-aware before you get into this, because especially if you make it big, the bigger you get, the more bashers you, I mean, that's just life. It's just the reality of it. So you'll always have like someone, you can't please everyone. But if you're self-aware and you have a good support system and you really know yourself, and you've got friends and family that really know you and that will help you keep grounded and will help you and support you, then that will help at least. And you will have that nice, you'll have core values that will help you get through it. And it would also make you, help you realize that these are just numbers at the end of the day, and these are just online personas that you don't really know at the end of the day. That what matters is really your real life, your real experiences, and what you enjoy doing, what makes you happy. For me, until now, I do every now and then still experience like the toxicity of it all. I do still feel, for me most especially, it's more of the burnout, because I
Yeah.
feel like we are, most of the influencers are content creators here in the Philippines. We're almost all like sort of like a one man team. We don't
Yes.
we don't have that like huge team that other countries have, like where you have like manager, someone who answers your emails, or someone who does this and someone who does that for you. For me personally, I do everything. I do all my negotiations. I
Oh
talk
my
to all the
gosh.
clients myself. I do my content all myself, and I just have like an assistant who helps me out, and then a video editor who helps me out. But technically, it still is very all you, like all the concepts and everything. And it's still very like an artistic industry, right?
Mhm.
So it definitely is highly dependent on you and how you feel. So it's so easy for you to feel burnt out. And for me, the best way is really just to take yourself out of the situation, step back, go offline, and just regroup. It's okay to just, for me it's always about listening to what you need. and 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 then when you're back and you're refreshed, then you're better than ever. Your ideas are better. People can really tell that you're better. If you keep forcing yourself to do this and do that, but deep inside you're not really happy anymore, then it's going to show and you're going to burn out. And yeah, that's just not how it's supposed to be. Listen to yourself, kids. Listen to that inner voice.
That says, magpahinga ka na.
Go
Right?
offline na.
Wag
Bitawan
ka
mo
na
na yung phone.
wag ka na mag-selfie. Tigilan mo na yung filter. No.
Sorry ngayon. Okay
Ano
lang.
yun? Sorry.
Hindi mo
What did you
kailangan
say?
sorry ngayon.
Hindi mo
Tomorrow.
kailangan oh my gosh, gusto ko yan. Hindi mo kailangan mag-unbox today. No, they will understand. No, but it's true. I'm gonna make my mom listen into this. No, no, kidding. No, grabe. I'm listening on like how I was just gonna ask about the whole like how you personally execute things. I mean, for a content creator of your caliber, I could only imagine. Parang how does Camille kaya do it, no? And then yun coming from you na, yun na nga, oh my
Alam
gosh.
ngayon, no? Especially 11/11 is about to come up. All the brands
Oo
are
nga eh.
very last minute.
Biglang may hugot, no? But yun,
Tweets and draft submissions. So that's
yes. Oh
some
my.
people don't realize that when we do projects, it's not just us and it's not just posting whatever we want. Usually there are like meetings, briefings, and there's like pegs you have to follow, and then there's like a creative conversation with the brand, with the agency, meron pang draft submission, meron pang approval, may revision. So, ngarag.
Yes, guys. I was gonna say, I wanted to tap onto that too. That what they don't really see, but this is what you see on the gram. Smiling with this cute product that we actually really use. And also, diba? I mean, totoo naman eh. I mean, okay, let's break it down. It is an industry, and nga, how do you kind of like balance the authenticity of things while being professional about it in terms of a business point of view naman, diba? Baka sabihin ng mga tao, oh, na nga, so pinagmimintingan niya pala. So, ibig sabihin, diba? Parang hindi authentic. So, how do you counter that? Diba? Pero
certain things that I personally feel strongly about. Like for example, number one, learn how to say no. It's so hard to say no, especially when you're starting out and you're young, because you tend to want to please people. But what I've learned through all these projects that I forced myself into doing, that like when I was way younger and way dumber, it's just that it doesn't make you feel good at the end of the day. It also just makes your work even harder because it doesn't come naturally. But if you actually love the product, you love the brand, you love the way they want you to execute it, then it's going to come easier. Your content is also much nicer and people will appreciate it and they will engage more. You're also much more inspired to work for these brands and to collaborate with these brands. So always learn how to say no. At the end of the day, if it's not something that would work for you, then it's not going to work for you. For me, I've said no to a lot of brands because it might be like something that I don't believe in. Like let's say, I mean, no offense to anyone who uses it, I just personally don't use it. Like let's say I don't use gluta pills, like I don't use it. So I always say, I'm so sorry, but I don't use it. And I just don't feel comfortable advertising it or promoting it because I don't use it. So say no. Or sometimes naman they ask you to do certain things that for me, I feel like it's not really natural or like doesn't really make sense for me to this. So if the brand or the agency doesn't wanna like meet halfway or doesn't wanna go with like my suggestion, then I just say, I'm so sorry guys, but I'll just pass, because at the end of the day, that's your platform. It's you who's gonna trend. People are gonna be bashing you. So that's your
yeah, it's your face. Yeah.
Oh, so it just doesn't make sense. So I just say I really just say no. And now I really don't compromise on my brand and on my content. Like I really know what I want to put out, because I also feel like I owe it to my audience to always be honest and to always give them that, because my audience is not dumb, like they're smart. So I can't be giving them content that I expect them to just chew and just like, it's just, okay, she said she uses this and okay. Like my audience is smart. So it has to be like whatever I put out there, it has to be something that I strongly believe in, because I know that my audience deserves that. I know that they deserve these kinds of posts. And yeah, so number one, learn how to say no. I'm so thankful to brands and agencies who allow you to really listen to your voice. and who really
Mm-hmm.
listen to you because they say, okay, you know your audience best. Sige, like what do you suggest? So that's why I
Yes.
can come up with all these like type of content that I'm so excited to post because I know my audience
Same.
love. Like for
Yeah.
example, my like this video that I did for a beer brand where I was like, oh, I like wore like an aerobics type of outfit, and it's like
That's so cute.
I was so inspired and I was so happy with the video that I was putting out because it was something that I really really loved and I felt like my audience would enjoy. So those kinds of things, it's possible. You just have to look for the right collaborators and for people who would actually listen to you because your voice matters and your audience
Yes.
matters.
Okay. And I think off the bat, you have to be transparent with what you're willing to do and how you do things. Just be
Oh,
confident with
and
that.
when people
I
ask,
mean,
is it sponsored? Yeah, it's sponsored.
but I won't accept it if I won't believe in it, right? Diba?
I've had
Exactly.
I've had talks with a lot of like let's say brands also because I don't know why here in the Philippines a lot of the brands are actually not as keen on saying that it's a sponsored post. So like
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of like where I really have a conversation and I push and I say that I think it's best for me to start this vlog off already saying that hi, this video is brought to you by this and that, so that we get that
Mm-hmm.
out of their heads already instead of just comments after comment na bashing you and saying that this is clearly a sponsored post. I already said it, it's a sponsored post. So everyone can move on from it and they can already like absorb what I'm actually saying, what I'm actually showing. So it's nice to be transparent. And I also don't do yung mga like when people say, oh, this is not a sponsored post, I really use this. Because I feel like that's kind of contradictory. So does that mean that if it's sponsored, you don't use it? That's why you'd never see me post that. Like I would never say that, okay, this is not sponsored. No one paid me to post this, but I actually use this. Because then you give that like you like people would question now, okay, so pag sponsored pala, it's just because you're paid. So I feel like that's just my personal belief. That's why I really just don't never use it. I never see
Yeah.
one.
Okay, guys, take notes, okay? Okay, grabe. Gusto ko yung ang dami nating na-release, no? Pagod yata tayo, Camille.
Sabi niya kasi, Achi Camille, give us advice. So eto na.
Oh
Dear
my gosh.
Achi
Oo, eto na. This is the tea. May ulong tea ba kayo dyan? Mag-sip muna tayo.
this
Okay,
is
pero
just my
yeah.
personal beliefs. So kung iba naman yung
Mm-mm.
ko naman ipipilit mo.
Kanya-kanya.
Oo.
Oo, kanya-kanya naman din siya. At the end of the day, it's just panindigan mo yung decision mo and yung execution mo. Tapos pag napagod ka, isipin mo na lang ulit, ano ba yung ginawa kong mali? And then listen to this podcast again. Hopefully it gives you light.
We
Okay,
also
so,
learn from our mistakes. Kahit si Kim Kardashian, sabi niya, she has
yeah.
posted brands where she was just all for the money. We all learned, we were all young ones, we were all dumb ones. You know, you eventually learn.
Yeah. No tea, no shade. And then just like, enjoy the process too. Nga, I think, bakit nga ba ang toxic? Guys, pwede mong mag-enjoy na lang tayo. Like, let people be. Let people learn their own mistakes. Be there for them, diba? And let's just enjoy. Okay, so let's go back to that. I mean, I love it when you were talking about, I see that your eyes really like, they lit up, but I can see how happy you are when you're talking about like content creation and when you really are excited to just execute it your own way, because I can really relate to that too, especially when it's something I really love and like, okay, I'm so excited to like put some cute background music na and like put some cute editings and like wear a cute costume or make it thematic. How do you where do you draw your inspiration and motivation from? I think this is kind of like a cliche question, but yun na nga, with all the burnout and stuff, like how do you keep it all fresh? How do you make sure that it's fun for you pa rin at the end of the day?
You really have to be at the right headspace, number one. So again, if you're not into it, wag mong pilitin. It's not just gonna be a good thing. And then for me, Yoni always asks me this night because I always get excited. So like for example, I have a new project for let's say a fashion brand, and I tell him, oh, this is the peg they showed me, but I think just so it's not exactly like the peg, like this is my idea. Like I would like really tell him, and I'm like so excited, and I'm so lucky that I have a husband who actually like is actually interested in these things. Like when I try to explain to him, and he doesn't make me feel like, oh yeah, okay. Like he actually converses and gets excited with me, and he always asks me like, where do you get all these ideas? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I've always loved marketing. I've always loved advertising. I've also always loved looking at commercials when I was young. I also really genuinely love other people that I follow on Instagram. So I also get inspiration from other people. No shame in that. Always just credit. Um, so
Yeah.
or like for example, I would scroll through like let's say a makeup brand and then I see like, oh, I like how they treated this video. I like this concept. I would like save it and then do like my own personal tweak. So every now and then, like I'm always looking for different like inspo because I am interested. So that's why I
Mm.
always say don't go into this if this is not your passion, because then everything would just feel like, why am I doing this? So it's just, it comes more naturally if you really love what you're doing. So that's why I'm always on the lookout. And again, if you feel burned out, always reset so that you're at the right headspace and you're just like fresh and you're ready to make new content.
Yeah, fresh and fabulous. That's the way to go. And I guess like never lose sight of like genuinely having fun.
Uh,
And parang being open to it. Sometimes we have a peg in mind, or sometimes we have like sometimes we overthink our executions. I don't know about you, pero ako minsan in-overthink ko para paano kaya to, parang, or sometimes I think it's me na para I want to do a good job always,
yeah.
especially if it's work, because that's
Mhm.
why they got you, and I don't want to disappoint. I know bad maging people pleaser, but I guess it's just fine, kunyari parang nag-exam ka, do you want to get an F? Of course not. You want to get an A plus, right? So for me, parang gusto ko rin, inaaral ko rin siya, and I would think to myself, how do I make this different? How do I make it of good quality? And I have to make sure that I personally am proud of it, right? So sometimes I actually overthink, and sometimes it's so funny. Where is it? Well, natapon ko na yata eh. I would make these little storyboards made out of like stick people.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so especially if may ibang taong kasama, sometimes I do shoot on my own too. Like the tripod has been my best friend this quarantine, because I don't want to like give mom any more shooting troubles. She's already managing my email actually. She's full-time momager na. So grabe Camille, I don't know how you do it. Ako minsan parang, mom, please ikaw na bahala sa business email side and all that all the contracts and stuff. But when it's time for creative execution, it's kind of like my role. Malamang, it's my role. Siya pa, mom, but actually, sometimes she gives me ideas. Oh, ito gawin mo. I love how my family is so involved too. So I really appreciate it. So shout out, Mommy Sally, laging pagod sa akin. She also helped me set this up. Sobrang hands-on. Okay, so yun. So parang yun, sometimes I overthink things. Pero minsan, when I let it go. Minsan parang I have kind of like a, what do you call this? Like a general idea or execution. And then I just allow myself to play na lang. Parang, and then parang mas lumalabas yung magandang output when I allow myself to just, let's just see where it goes. Sometimes, no, there's only so much you can control too. And I think that goes well. Like that rings true to life in general, not just with content creation, but with many different fields, diba, Camille? Minsan kasi you really can't control the output of things and execution. Ayun. So, okay, let's just wrap things up. Maybe your tips in general in terms of ano naman for those who have zero clue of where to begin. I think we always hear like following a niche. Do you believe in that too, diba? Just to make sure you're attracting the right crowd.
If you're really into this to for it to be your career or your business, then definitely my advice would be different. So if you're really into like if you really want this to be a business, then definitely look for your niche. Don't be all over the place. I think it's nice if you already have like you have a direction you're going. Like, is it fashion? Is it beauty? Are you lifestyle? Patawa ka ba? Political ka ba? So you already like you can attract a certain audience already, because if you're a jack of all trades, then it's also harder to capture the market because then it's harder to hear your voice. It's not as clear. But if you're not into this as a business or as a career, then don't overthink it. Just do it and have fun with it, and then everything will just happen organically. I mean, a lot of us naman, we didn't overthink it when we started. So yeah, just yun. But again, if you're also doing this as a career, I also think that research, look at what's working for other people, what's working for your audience. I don't It doesn't mean that you have to copy, but just okay, oh, this girl, she posts like regularly, so ganito pala yun, you have to post like regularly, or like just get like a little bit like study research, just like any other business. And but yeah, also post regularly. You have to post regularly,
Yeah,
especially when
grabe
you're
no. My algorithm pa and all. Guys, actually, we can go on and on about this. But to compress it within like a few minutes, we're doing our best, right? Okay, so maybe this is kind of like a parang ano to eh, yung mga nakikita mo sa mga Facebook question Facebook talaga. Yung mga what would you tell your younger self? But I do want to ask you that. Camille.
oh
Actually,
my
Camille, what
god.
would you anong
Yeah,
advice ang masasabi mo sa younger self mo? Zooming
I
in
would
on
tell my younger self to chill. Chill. Chill.
chill
You don't
girl.
have to be so into it. You don't have to be so worried about the numbers. You don't have to be so worried about the output. You don't have to capture everything. You don't have to take photos of everything. Chill and just go with the flow. Don't be like I just realized this the other day actually. I was just telling Yanni, he was like, oh, I feel so bad because I also travel. Like there are times where when I travel with my mom, and she also took some photos of me, but she's probably not like Auntie Sally, who's like a pro on the camera. My mom is like legit, like like super duper old school Chinese, so she's like, I don't know how to work this. So I was like, I wish I was more patient with my mom. I wish I never asked her to take that much photos. I wish I just chilled out more. Like I wish, like it made me feel so guilty. So I would tell my younger self to chill. You'll get there eventually. You don't have to take everything and like do everything.
I love it. Sabay, ano pala to, therapy session. I hope you'll feel so much better after this podcast interview, Camille. Well, okay, again to, ano pa ba? Guys, syempre, no, kailangan, ano pang gusto natin try kay Camille? This is the moment. I think my last few questions is for, since this is produced by the Chinoy Podcast Network, for our Chinoy showbiz talaga. No, sige, ganito. For those who want to be a part of this industry and who are kind of, they have their own apprehensions, maybe they have their own little misconceptions about it probably, or maybe they want it but their parents aren't exactly confident for them to take on this path like new media. What is your advice for them?
My parents weren't into it also when I first told them that they didn't understand what it was. Maybe now it's easier to understand, but I think what worked for me was I brought them into my world more, not necessarily bringing them to events and everything, but I showed them what I was doing. I would show them my photos, I would show them my posts, I would show them the work I'm getting, just explaining it to them. Because I think at the end of the day, your parents' fear stems from the uncertainty and the unknown, because they're so like this is such a new thing, like it didn't exist during their time. So you just have to take your time to explain and to make them understand what it is you're really doing, because then it would be easier for them to understand and to get rid of all these misconceptions. Number two, always just siguro, if they want you, do well in what they want you to do. Let's say they want you to study first and do this and do that, you can always do this thing on the side anyway. So yeah, listen to
Mhm.
them, study. All these things come in handy. Even if you want to be a content creator in the future, you still do need business skills, you still do need marketing skills, you still do need to understand your numbers. So that's, at least for me, that's what worked. I did well in school, and when I wanted to become a content creator, I showed it to them, I explained it to them, and it was just, it's a process. So don't get tired of it, be patient. It's a process. Your parents just care for you. They just need to understand that you're going to be fine in life.
You're gonna be fine in life and just do well. I think and enjoy it. I think if they really see that, they will really support it too, and they would understand. I mean, come on, actually, mas open na nga mga parents ngayon. Nagtitiktok pa nga sila, di ba? Other parents, di ba? It's so cute. I love it. Well, anyway, just before saying goodbye, maybe now, because like recently, we could be wrapping this up, but I just want to hear from you last night. It's a little bit technical too, but maybe for those who are super duper new in terms of the ethics of it all, naman, what are your key key tips in terms of content creation ethics? Yeah, because like sometimes people are like, diba, na trigger sila ay yung parang puro pa freebie and ba yun for those who have zero clue.
Okay. um, there is no harm in approaching brands. I do hear that a lot of younger generations do approach brands, but I think you have to study the right way of approaching them and the right way of conversing, the right language to use. Never be over assuming. Always be grateful and thankful. I think if you are the one going to these brands for collaborations, then I think you are also not in the place to demand so much. So come from a place of like gratefulness and collaboration and open-mindedness, and then also learn to credit. Always credit if you found inspiration from someone and you're just doing the exact same thing that they're doing. Always credit who you got your inspiration from. If you worked with other people, if you collaborated with other people, especially if it's not a paid collaboration, everyone was like doing this for the creation and the arts of it all, then make sure to credit everyone. Number three, uh, mind your own business. Don't badmouth anyone. It's a small industry. It is a small industry in a sense that we all kind of know each other. It is a big industry in a sense that it's big enough for all of us. So no need to pull other people down or to bring yourself into other people's mess. And then what else, ethics wise? And then number four, always be transparent to your audience. So if it is a paid post or if it is a review of something that it's you had an experience with a product that you were paid for, be open about that experience. Say it honestly. I think you always have to remember at the end of the day, with great power comes great responsibility. I really do agree. A lot of people will eventually, like, especially if you get that following, they will be listening to you. So people's lives are not naman their lives, they're not naman gonna die, but I mean their skin, let's say, if you're like doing skincare, makasalalay sa'yo yan. So syempre you have to like, be very honest about these things, because people listen to your reviews and to your posts and everything, so be very transparent.
Okay, I love it. Thank you so much, Camille. So, syempre, before we say goodbye, maybe you can plug your new business too. I think you were able to launch this in the middle of this whole
Oh, my
pandemic.
clarity
So,
bag sold out
yeah, you have
na, no?
sold out
So
now. Sige,
for
so
everyone who bought clarity bags, we sold out in less than a week. I but do follow shop It's Camille Co, or me myself, most especially at It's Camille Co. So that's ITS Camille Co. For any new announcements, if we do come up with anything new. Also, I want to plug our restaurant. It's the Canton Club, at the Canton Club PH. So we're located in Alabang, but we deliver to all around Metro Manila and also to Calabarzon and Rizal areas. And we also have like frozen dim sum. Gusto mo nagbenta talaga ako, frozen dim sum and like frozen goods that are like preservative free, MSG free. Auntie Sally, it's free of MSG. All
I love it.
that. And then, what else? If you have any office, lahat talaga. Your needs, do follow at Nordic Concept, so NORDIK Concept, or also at Curio Cavern for your ano naman, house needs, for residential
I
needs.
love again, be updated with everything that's going on with Camille's life. Be inspired by her. And if you have more questions, maybe you guys can even comment on her posts and even shoot her a DM. Always so ano naman, approachable, Camille. And I thank you for that too. And for saying yes to this once again. Thank you so much for taking your time, taking the time off your busy schedule. Hello to your beautiful family, to your loving, supportive husband who's super, diba, game to wear a banana costume wherever you go. Ang saya ng posts niyo, grabe. I always look forward to your posts too. So thank you so much for being a positive ray of light and for being our content creation Achi today and coach. Thank you so much, Camille. I'll see you soon. And yeah, this is Rise Up with Janeena Chan and Camille Co. If you enjoyed this podcast interview, please do leave a good review, especially if you are listening via Apple Podcast. And yeah, share this to your friends and family, especially if they are really interested in this industry. And thank you so much for listening, everyone. Have a great day. See you in the next episode.
You also have that designated spot, not just for other people, but I guess also for yourself. Because what I've observed with a lot of my clients at the beginning was they became very exhausted because they felt that they had to work